Pepe. Let's keep the party going, buddy. We are having some after party madness. We are having some fun here tonight. And we've got the fam here live. We got that first level energy. We have around like 40 people live here, and it's always a good time. Tonight, we're going to be watching 2 more videos. I can't wait. You guys are going to want to stick around to the end because I heard that there is a funny video to end the night on the party. But first, we're going to watch a good content creator, a solid content creator. I watch from time to time. He does a lot of Star Citizen economy videos. His name is Jack Axton. If you guys are not aware of him, you can see here I am subscribed to him. If you guys are into the industry, if you guys are into the trading or the mining or the future of prospects or gameplay involving that, then I would highly recommend this guy. Jack Axton is very witty, and he's always on point when it comes to what is currently in the game, what he wants with economic gameplay. I like his content. And in this video, he's talking about the trouble with trading. And we watched one from him a couple months back that was like this really funny meme kind of video about like what current trading is like. But I wonder if this is going to be more of like an expose on what trading is going to be, what trading is currently. Let's check him out. Explodo says, I like Jack. He is cool to hang out in his YouTube streams during the day when able to catch him. So there's an endorsement from Explodo.
Hello, citizens. Today I'm going to talk about the history of trade in Star Citizen, where it is now, and how it got there. A lot of the information here will be presented as narration with numbers, so the actual video portion will have little to do with what's going on. This probably could have been a podcast, but I don't know how to do those. So, you get a video. Now, before we get started, I do want to get a couple of disclaimers.
Peace out, Wind. Have a great night, bro.
One, while some of the information
eat some chocolate there in Switzerland,
in this
buddy.
Video is cited from sources such as SC Trade Tools and Galog, none of this information has been verified by CIG themselves. I've done my best to validate the information I have, and I do trust my sources. But please be aware that I may be wrong about some things. I doubt it, though. Secondly, parts of this video may contain opinion, which can be wrong and is subjective.
Okay, this is bullshit, like disclaimer stuff. Jack, stop doing that shit. Don't worry about people that are like upset or get angry or like this type of like beginning type thing where you know you got to do the obligatory disclaimer and protect yourself from angry citizens. You know, just don't worry about that, Jack. Drop that shit, bro. Just drop it. Don't worry.
Especially when that opinion is on the internet. So if I state an opinion, please take it with a heavy grain of salt or salt alternative. And thirdly, as much as I hate saying it, Star Citizen is currently in alpha, with all portions of the game subject to change. This includes trading. With that out of the way, let's begin. The trouble with trading. In the current Star Citizen patch 3.14, trading is one of the worst possible ways to make money, with the highest investment risk and the lowest payout.
Which, I mean, really, it is a giant Excel spreadsheet right now. Let's just be honest about trading. Trading right now in this alpha format is literally like developers plugging in prices manually, and I don't think there's much algorithmic calculation being done. I think once we get quantum in the game that Tony Z's been talking about for a while, that you will see the changes that Jack wants.
To understand how it became the debacle that it is today, we need to take a look at the history of trade. I'll try to keep
doing good, Hermit. Good to see you, buddy. How you doing, man?
In patch 3.5 and previous, trade was not dynamic. Despite the patch notes for 3.0 specifying CIG's first attempt at a dynamic economy, things were pretty flat across the board.
It's not. There's no
all
dynamics.
Prices were locked at their
There's
base
no
amounts,
dynamics.
and all stock and demand fully refreshed every 2 minutes. So, if a location had 180 SCU of Agresium and you bought it all, you only had to wait 2 minutes before it would refill. While this was excellent for making money, there was no push and pull to the economy. This was also during the time known as the Jumptown Wars. With increased server stability coming online, especially during the 3.4 patch, traders with large ships such as the Caterpillar were discovering that they could make just as much money hauling legal cargo than they could moving Widow, with a slightly smaller chance of being blown up.
Yeah, and I think also that had to do with the fact that there were fewer places as well, Explodo, and a smaller player base too, so it was a little bit more manageable. You know what I mean, Explodo? So there is that. I get what you're saying, but I think what eventually does need to happen to give us like some type of simulation or realism to trade is the algorithm really detecting actual demand. You know, where the demand is going to be coming from, and it has to be attached to like some type of economic gameplay where manufacturing comes into play, and manufacturers do need these goods. Like, you know, like once you have these nodes, these manufacturing nodes up, and they're actually making goods that you can buy, the goods that we can buy now, once those goods are actually attached to manufacturing nodes, and they need items. And those items are physical, real items, you know, in the game. And those items are needed in those nodes. That's when I think you're going to start seeing dynamics. You know, I don't think that's that hard to do even right now, which is really kind of what worries me. You understand, Explodo? Like, I'm not quite sure what the holdup is on Quantum. I'm not quite sure why the algorithm is being held back. I'm not quite sure why it's not being implemented anytime soon. And I still don't have answers to that. So, but I do think I'm standing resolute on, I don't think we're going to see real trading till Quantum hits. And that is why. I think once we see manufacturing nodes needing physicalized inventory that means something, we will then start to see the supply and demand that brings us to a true or a truer trading economy, you know?
While legal cargo had a smaller profit margin than Widow, this was mitigated somewhat by the bulk purchases landing locations would make.
Yeah, same, Jay. I got tired of it, Jay.
Several friends and myself would pilot 4 to 5 Caterpillars of Agresium or medical supplies at a time, bringing in ridiculous amounts of profit with a massively high risk to the tune of about 5 million credits. However, due to bulk buying, we could make more profit this way than we could moving a Caterpillar full of Widow, if we could manage to get it off the ground. Now, patches 3.5.1 and 3.6 introduce an overhaul to the trade system. While it increased average profits from about 5% to 20%, it dramatically changed how supply and demand works, in addition to introducing price adjustments based on supply and demand. Now, once again, before 3.5.1, all supply and demand fully reset with each server tick. So once again, if an outpost had 50 SCU of Agresium and a player bought it all, that player could wait for the next server tick to buy another.
Yeah, again, responding to essentially refreshing from an Excel spreadsheet on a timer. I mean, that's literally what the economy has been up to this point. And I get what Jack is saying here.
50 Agresium. With 3.5.1 and beyond, CIG introduced a refresh rate. Instead of fully refreshing supply and demand, each was refreshed by a certain amount, up to a maximum cap. So if an outpost had 50 SCU of Agresium for sale, a player who buys it all might see only 10 SCU of Agresium added to the outpost with each refresh tick. The refresh tick also takes into account the amount of a commodity purchased and subtracts that from the refresh across other servers. So if it refreshes for 10 SCU, but a total of 6 SCU was purchased during that tick's time on multiple servers, there would be 4 SCU added to the refresh amount for all servers. Now, too much cargo purchased can even sometimes lower the stock level or empty it entirely for the next refresh tick. When this was first
See you trip out, man.
the economies were
Good luck to you. I hope your power's back,
so
and I know
trade
trip out
economies
got
between
hit.
USA,
So
Europe,
I wish you the
and
best,
Australia.
buddy.
Now this update put a new focus on trading for a lot of players and made it profitable and competitive to trade, with the economy becoming more and more dynamic. For example, the introduction of the Carrack heavily disrupted titanium and astatine in 3.8.2, forcing a lot of traders to seek alternative routes. It was an interesting time to trade due to how volatile prices were. Now, before we proceed, I'm sure a lot of you remember 3.9.1, when Laranite and others were infinite. Somehow, CIG went back to the 3.5 economy system, but with 3.6 profits, giving us a best of both worlds situation.
And again, this all has to do with plugged in numbers by the economy team for testing purposes that they're doing on purpose. It's exactly what they're doing. God knows what the reasoning is behind it. But I believe that you'll see the type of economy that you want to see if two conditions apply eventually. A, being just that it is true player-driven supply and demand, which is not the way the game's going to be made. Unfortunately, I've always wanted that. I'm very hardcore. Or B, that the quantum will actually be put into the game and that we will actually see real, true, or what I want to say, as I will say, simulated supply and demand, giving us as true supply and demand as we can get. Understanding that the ratio of NPC to player is like astronomically different. Like 9-to-1 is what the number is. I personally think it might even be greater than that. From what I saw in the presentation for Tony Z.
I know a lot of people enjoyed it, and many deride it and use it as an example to insult traders, but this was a fluke. It only lasted a month. However, with CIG's lack of communication on trade in general over the past
forever,
it's confusing to see why they left it in for so long. Or continue.
They really are dropping the ball on this. Like, absolutely agree with Jack on this. It is so not transparent when it comes to the trading. It's it's either that they're doing it on purpose or that they just don't have much. It kind of scares me because I almost think it's the latter rather than the former.
Refuse to acknowledge any sort of adjustments to trade. Now, things began to change for the worse around 3.10. The economy went back to its updated model. However, 3.11 saw the trade economy unified between all servers. So, instead of the three regions having their own economies, they were melded into one. While this is what is intended for the final product, CIG failed to increase numbers to account for three economies being shoved into the size of one.
Right.
Europe alone was one of the worst regions to trade in due to its massive player base. And adding two other regions all competing for the same stock suffocated a lot of traders. Now, potentially tripling the amount of traders without increasing total stock or refresh rate shuttered a lot of the trade economy. However, trade was still slightly doable.
Yeah, Jack's a good dude.
3.12 changed all of that. Three major changes occurred that sunk the economy to where it is today. The first change was the new refining system introduced for mining in 3.12. With refining introduced, miners can now refine their ore from the raw version into the refined version that traders buy from outposts, making it identical to the store-bought versions. Star Citizen's trade economy heavily focuses on bringing materials to port cities, such as Lorville and Area 18. What this means is suddenly a new gameplay loop is bringing in high-value commodities such as Agricium and Laranite into the trade loop that an already struggling economy is attempting to work with. To make matters worse, CIG neglected to increase demand caps or refresh rates to account for the sudden increase in commodities being sold by miners, impacting both miners and traders. The second issue is the removal and restructuring of where things are sold. With the refinery update, metals and minerals can only be sold to Lorville, Area 18, and New Babbage.
But why? I mean, like, really, you got to ask the question, like, what are they being used for? And the answer is nothing right now. Like, again, you will see a more true, realized economy come to life and be born once manufacturing nodes are in the game and they are using these materials, not just for fucked up bullshit PvE and PC styled missions, or just rando going out and mining and selling it because it's there for for you to sell to. Once it's sold, it literally does nothing. That inventory needs to actually be physicalized. The items need to be physicalized, and those need to be used in the manufacturing node, which the manufacturing node gameplay is in the algorithm itself in Quantum. So again, that is why I'm saying you're probably not going to see trading the way you want it until Quantum gets. I'm not even going to watch the rest of this. You know why? Because the answer has to be, where is the true demand coming from? And there is no true demand right now. There's no true demand because those items are not truly being used for anything. Let's just be real. Let's just say it like it is, simply, and put it like that. Jack, I love you. You do great on your content. I'm sorry I'm not watching the rest of this video. You probably said something similar to that, but I just want to get to the meat and potatoes of what will give us a true economy, and that is at least player-driven demand, true demand, or simulated AI algorithmic quantum demand. And it has to come from a node. It has to come from a manufacturing node. Those minerals and materials have to be used to make the items that we buy. Period. Done. Thank you, Jack. You're a good content creator. I highly recommend going over to Jack Axton's channel. This involves having a higher level of attention span. Jack is a very intelligent guy. If you're really into economy-styled videos, trading, go over there. If you have a higher IQ, go over there. He has wonderful talks. I love to watch these in entirety. I'm not saying you guys watching don't have a high IQ. I'm just saying it's party time tonight, and we gotta get this party started. This is like heavy deep thinking for people that are really into industrial trade like myself. And tonight we got a mix. We want the higher energy. We want that party atmosphere vibe. But I highly recommend you guys go over there. I'm gonna like the video. From everything I heard so far, Jack is on it. But again, if you really want a true Star Citizen economy to be born, you need true demand, or simulated demand that is about as true as you can get. And you need to start with nodes. And those nodes need to use the items, not just a screen that's saying, sure, I'll buy your items. And then those items just, poof, don't do anything, don't go anywhere, aren't made for anything. That's Elite Dangerous style gameplay. We don't want that. So we definitely want more transparency from the economic team in Cloud Imperium. We want to know what they're working on. We want to understand the economy as it is now, and what we're going to get, and how soon we're going to get it, and what are the obstacles. And I want that video. And last time Tony Z talked, we just got a reiteration or a rehash of Quantum like we got from CitizenCon over 2 years ago. And I want more than that. Aries, welcome, buddy. Aries is here for the party. Let's get to the party. Pepper, give us the party.